episode of Fireside Chats. Thank you for watching and listening as we delve into the history and the stories that make Woodcrest such a special place. Today with us are the Carvells, and we want to ask you just to sort of introduce yourselves, give us your story and your background, and then I'm just going to start bombarding you with questions.
Sounds good. My name is Todd Carvell. I served on summer staff from 2005 until 2010, and was here in the mid to early 90s as a camper during day camp and some canoe trips.
During those years, overnight, counselor, day camp, a little bit of everything?
So I started as an overnight counselor, and then for 2 years, and then was the resident director for 4.
Okay, great.
And I'm Heidi Carvell, and my first memories of Woodcrest are coming and helping watch kids while their mom taught art classes.
Okay.
And then I was a day camp counselor for years, volunteering a week or so a summer. And then in 2007, I came on staff for 2007 to 2009 as the day camp director.
Day camp director. Wow, you were overnight director. Huh. So when did you guys officially meet?
Well, we officially met in high school, but I really don't remember him in one class. So he doesn't remember me in the other class.
Okay.
So pretty much here.
Okay. Now, obviously there was the no dating policy still in place, right?
Correct.
Yep.
So how'd that work?
So we didn't date, and then got the blessing from Phil in between 2 summers.
Okay.
It was okay to start.
I kind of remember having a conversation with Phil. He's like, "Are you guys coming back?" And we're like, "Well, we're dating and we're not going to stop dating." And he said, "That's okay." So we were dating our 3rd summer here.
Okay. I can sympathize. My wife and I met at another camp and had a similar situation. Had to deal with all of the questions that you get from kids.
Yes.
So my heart is with camping because that's where lives are transformed by youth. Any stories that stick out during those years on staff of just campers and moments where you would say God stepped in and showed himself in an amazing way? Any of those that come to mind?
So the one that comes to mind for me almost immediately is we were on a canoe trip with the teen week kids. So it's like a 4-hour canoe trip, and this girl's canoe flipped and her glasses fell off in the river. And it was like, okay, there's nothing to do but pray. So we prayed, and a couple of people got out of their canoes, and wouldn't you know, I found the glasses. And I was like,
That was on the river?
yeah.
Wow.
So talk about an answer to prayer, and just a faith encouragement for her and for all the other campers that witnessed that.
That is. That's really good. Anything from your
I think
years?
what stands out is just God's provision. There, at the time when we were serving, we relied heavily on volunteer counselors, nurses stepping in for weeks. And sometimes we'd be getting to Friday and we still didn't have our staff that we needed for Monday. And I don't remember a single time that we didn't have who we needed when Monday rolled around.
It is. It's amazing. I know we were just talking in the office. So this is being recorded in February, and Adam's like, for prayer today at staff meeting was the needs. And like, God's got this. It may look very different than what we want. It may not be in our timing, but God's got it because it's his ministry. So what's your favorite part? So you did a lot overnight. You have the day camp, very different parts of camp at Woodcrest. Heidi, what would you say was your favorite part of day camp? What made day camp special for you?
I think maybe game time.
Okay.
That's probably when I was directing anyways, that's when I got to interact with the kids the
Okay.
most.
Nice.
And it was just a fun time with everybody together. Lots of noise, but also a lot of fun.
Yeah. When I lead workshops, I always say that, not to sound sacrilegious, but games are the most important part of camp. Because you can have great Bible teaching and all that, but if kids aren't having fun and wanting to come back, then that's for nothing. So yeah, I love the game aspect. How about for you for overnight camp? What was the highlight, or what was your favorite part of overnight camp?
I would say probably the evenings. This is a fireside chat.
Fireside
so
chats, yeah.
probably fireside, but then right before fireside, we always had game time.
Yeah.
And I'm an athletic person, or was an athletic person. So games was always huge, and then playing the way
Yeah.
on Wednesday nights.
With the teens.
Yeah, was always a fun and meaningful.
So that's been around for a while then. Do you know the history of the way, where it came?
It was here when I started
Okay.
in 2005, so I don't know. You have to ask somebody.
I'll have to ask someone else.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't
really?
know when that came.
I'm not sure.
But yeah, that's a very powerful activity with the teens.
For sure.
So it's great, and we love to hear spiritual stories and testimonies of kids. But camp is also a place for fun and craziness and other things. Those moments at camp that you just look like, I can't believe we did that, or we probably shouldn't have done that stories. Because you guys are gone long enough that we can safely tell those stories.
So, 2005, our summer staff was only less than 20 people. So we would do things on the weekends together, like go to cabins and
Oh wow.
things like that, because you could take 2 vehicles and everybody would fit. And we went to this girl's house with her family, and there was in like northern PA. And we thought it would be a good idea to put the pizza that we got, takeout pizza, in the oven. However, in its cardboard
Yeah.
boxes.
Yeah.
However, when you immediately start an oven, the top thing starts as well.
Yes.
The pizza got a little burnt and got thrown out the window of the house.
All the
So
windows had to be open and stuff.
Yeah,
right.
smoking, so you could just throw the pizza out the window. The other one that sticks in my mind was also maybe my first or second summer. We used to all the staff would get CPR certified, and the lady asked me what my name was, and I said Todd, and she said, "What was that?" And I said Todd, and okay, Doug. So then for the rest of that summer, I was Doug, and even longer than that, some of the staff from that year still call me Doug if we see each other at the auction or whatever. So those are 2 that could stick out. I'm sure there's lots more.
I think one that sticks out, I served on day camp, but I didn't stay up here all the time. And it was it a Wednesday night? Is that when theme night was? It was theme night, and the music director and Todd and I were tearing down Tree Climb. And so we tore it down, and we were on the golf cart, and the music director had a siren. And so we came tearing down the hill with the siren blaring, only to come into IRC and realize it was in the middle of prayer. They had started without us. They got tired of waiting, and so here we come blaring in, and all the campers and staff are staring at us.
It was like a police siren,
Yeah.
like a
Yes.
bullhorn.
Yes. Always good for the worship leader to do that.
It was a grand entrance.
So obviously, since you've been on staff, Woodcrest has grown a bit. What are some things that excite you as you look back or look at what's happening now? And you just say, that's exciting to see.
I think one of the things we talked about over our time here was Woodcrest was kind of in its growing pains. And it's so exciting to see more staff and to see, especially the support staff side of it. We kind of ran with the bare bones.
Yeah.
and stuff fell through the cracks staff-wise. And it's really exciting to see that there's support staff here just to fill in the spots.
And for me, it's just exciting to see for the staff, you have 70 people having a exciting summer instead of just 18 or 20 or 24. You have that many more young people being impacted by a summer at camp, and it's a huge, impactful time. Those are some of my favorite summers I've ever had.
Yeah, I know. And that's for me, I think, my years as a counselor at a camp just totally changed my trajectory of life and ministry. And I know I love how Woodcrest pours into our staff. We have staff dedicated to caring for and discipling staff because it's so vital for them as they're ministering to be ministered to as well. What are some of the, besides staff, what are some changes that you see from those days back 10 years ago? Because that you were pre-pool.
We were. The pool was always a stressful day because you had to make sure you had a bus driver and you had to make sure you knew where the bus was.
Was that a daily trip to the Reedstown pool?
Almost. It was Monday and Wednesday day camp went, and Tuesday and Thursday overnight went.
Okay.
No, I think I went Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Or something.
Day.
Yeah. Well, till we got every kid there one time.
Wow.
We would go that many days. So we'd leave 2/3 of the day camp here.
Okay.
Take 1/3.
So I would inherit a lot of extra kids for a couple of hours.
Wow.
So yes, having a pool is huge. It was talked about back in the day too.
Yeah.
Oh, someday we're going to get a pool. So it's good that someday has
Yeah.
arrived.
And
It's nice to be able to have some guidelines for a pool for a Christian camp that you don't have at a public pool.
Yeah, I worked at a camp that shuttled kids to a public school. That was always hard because you had issues with swimsuits and language,
The music that's playing.
Music.
Yeah.
so it is nice to be able to guard that and create that environment and culture where kids can have fun and not worry about other things.
And for overnight, I was serving here before there was a bathhouse.
Oh wow!
We used to get in a portable Job Johnny trailer.
Oh wow!
The luxury lab is what it was stenciled on the side of the trailer.
And all showers were down.
All showers were down at the bottom of the hill.
I've heard those stories
once a
from
week.
Deb Burkhalter shares those stories of having at night to walk down, get your showers, and come back.
Or if you were lucky, Phil was nice enough to drive the bus down the hill.
Okay.
So we tried to get the campers 1 shower a week.
What are we doing? We have a new shower house right there. It's like, we're ruining camp.
The shelters only had 3 walls.
Oh wow! Okay.
3 walls with a curtain that would go across the front.
And now we're talking about replacing those with Lancaster log cabins that will have electricity and a bathroom.
Yeah.
Wow.
With kerosene or propane lanterns.
Made
It was
all
very
this-
rustic, but I think that was one of the draws for that season, at least.
And I think the heart, when I go through the process of designing those cabins, I think the heart is we want something that's going to maintain. That's the heart of Woodcrest, is that rustic experience, getting out, cooking your own meals for overnight camp, and just trying to create that while also assuring that parents have the amenities they want their kids to have each day. I tell you. Any thinking like staff-wise, because you were in those key years, like relationships that you've maintained with any of those staff? Do you see yourselves like a family connection that has continued beyond camp?
I would say some of my best friends came from the camp years. I have people that I still stay in contact with, however many years later, 10, 12 years later.
And even, I don't see a lot of them frequently, but when we do, there's always a connection.
There is.
And that shared history together.
There is. There's something about camp friendships. You may not see each other for 4 or 5 years. You get back up and you just sort of pick up where you left
Oh,
off.
sure.
There's a common connection.
And several of them were in my wedding, so.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you mentioned before we got on camera that you are an associate pastor at Todd and Heidi Carvell, which is where Phil Horning is at. Was that a connection before camp, or is that your home church before you started? Actually, well, Phil had been here when you were on staff. So how did that play out?
I grew up going to games every
Okay.
night, so I don't know if that had anything to do with you coming to games.
It probably did.
Obviously, your years here didn't didn't turn you on to Phil.
No, I think it only grew stronger. But so my start at Woodcrest, I was going to Millersville University, and I went to a church there called University Christian Fellowship, and he came and shared about the need for summer staff. Well, and when he went up to share, I was like, man, this guy looks so familiar, and I did kind of pinpoint who he was, because it would have been 10 years I would have seen him last as a day camper. And yeah, I said they needed help, and I didn't have a summer plan yet, so that was kind of my reintroduction, I guess, to Phil.
Do you guys have children?
We do. We have 3
Ages?
11, 9, and 6.
I don't know if I should probably ask this, but do they come to Woodcrest?
They have not yet.
All right.
It's a bit of a drive for us to get here. So we were talking about it on the way here, actually. Do you think they would like going? We decided yes, but we're not sure.
40 minutes one way would be a little long.
I didn't think I realized how far away that was.
So we did do the pool last summer.
Okay.
Oh yes, we do love the pool.
Any other just you look back over those years, memories that you want to share with people that would capture the heart and the mission of Woodcrest?
Yeah, I think it's just the spiritual growth that occurs with being with 20, 25, 30 other young people that have the same or a common goal, and grow together spiritually, and then just also the family aspect that grows between the staff from week 1 to week 9.
Yeah.
Come in not knowing most of the people at some points, and then just everybody feels like brothers and sisters after the summer's over. It's just amazing how that, the struggles and the triumphs just bind you together. It's not an easy summer by any stretch of the imagination. It is fun. There's lots of fun times, but there's also a lot of difficulties and a lot of seeing God work through. I had the fortunate experience of being the overnight director when the shelter burnt down.
Ah, okay.
So,
I've heard that story.
Yeah, talk about a growth experience. That was one of the worst days ever, but looking back on it is probably one of the times that I grew the most too.
Yeah, that's come up a couple times in interviews with staff and with Cliff and Carol. And again, I think that was how it's described. I think it was a horrible experience, but out of that rose up not just a new cabin, but the whole really brought the community together.
Well, and seeing the campers take care of each other and the staff take care of each other, and then it was a week or two that a new shelter was. Businesses put things aside and paid their workers to be here, but so it was just an amazing, a terrible experience, but amazing experience.
They only had 3 sides, so how long was it?
Right, well, true.
Heidi, anything did you like that just?
I think just what stands out the most and what I'm so grateful for is just the way it would have formed where I went from there. And the relationships and seeing God's faithfulness in action and how I'm able to look back on that And also seeing God use me. When Phil first approached me about becoming day camp director, I was like, no, there's no way that I could do that. Like, I don't think I could do that. And then after praying through and deciding, yeah, and then seeing God work through that decision and just looking back at his faithfulness there and carrying that with me as I go through life. There's times I was like, if I could do that, if I could do a summer at Woodcrest and lead day camp, I can do this.
One of our theme verses we use in recruiting is 1 Timothy 4:12, which is all about, don't despise you in your youth. And many teens think, I'm young in my faith, or I'm not very grounded. How can God use me? Yet, camp ministry is the perfect place.
Absolutely.
Because you're surrounded. It's not all about you. You've got a team working with you and alongside you. And just, I love hearing the stories of like, I had this amazing conversation. God opened the door, and they're able to see that God can use them and helps them in that journey, gives them the encouragement, the boost for lifelong ministry in many ways.
And I think also another side of that is learning to work together with other believers. That was probably one of the first times in my life that you rely on each other so much, because there's no way it's going to happen.
No.
And even with directing, I remember we would sit down and be like, okay, you're setting up water slides, you're setting up tree climb, and figure everything out and who's doing what, and there's no way camp can happen without that working together.
Yeah, there's absolutely nothing like camp ministry. It's exciting to see the history of Woodcrest and how God has been faithful to keep that thread of his truth flowing throughout all the generations. And thank you for being a part of that. We'll have to nudge you to let the next generation be a part of that too. Words, you sort of kind of encapsulated already, but I always like a soundbite or nugget, particularly for the next generation, about just the importance of getting out and experiencing the wonder of God at camp. Any advice, encouraging to those who might be thinking about camp ministry or thinking about what it would be like to serve?
I would say just go for it. Just jump in and God's got you, and just hang on for the ride and enjoy it, and you'll make friends that will stay with you through life, and your faith will be encouraged more than you can even imagine.
And it's not going to be easy, but it is going to be fun too.
Yeah.
And it's an unforgettable experience.
It truly is. Well, thank you for your time. Thank you for listening to another episode of Fireside Chats, where we try to share the stories that have shaped and guided Woodcrest over the years. Look forward to more coming your way soon.